This is for IXL K.10. We are interpreting graphs of proportional relationships. And in front of you is an IXL problem that I printed off. And I just want to look at this. It's a really good example of just being able to identify the important parts of the graph and be able to make sense of it. So let's look here first. It says Roxanne is starting a summer camp for children with hearing impairments. She needs to hire enough counselors to chaperone the children. The graph shows the proportional relationship between the number of counselors Roxanne hires, which is X, and I'm going to highlight that. So X is the counselors, and the maximum number of children who can attend the camp, which is Y. So children is Y. And we can look at this and see that it is also written here. We know that this is the y-axis. The y-axis we know runs up and down or vertically, and the y-axis corresponds to the maximum number of children. The x-axis we know runs horizontally, and it is labeled X over here on the page, but I'm going to do it again. And that tells us how many counselors. So the best thing about these graphs is really they can stand on their own most of the time just by looking at it. It tells us this is counselors across the x-axis, number of children allowed on the y-axis. And so here we go. It's already plotted the 2, 6. So it says that the x-coordinate is the number of counselors. So we see this is counselors, so the x-coordinate is 2, which tells us there's 2 counselors. The y-coordinate is 6, which tells us that's how many children are allowed. And now we just answer this question. What does the point 26 represent? Well, just look at it. Does the 2 represent the number of counselors or the number of children? Just by looking at the graph, even if you didn't read all of this, you see that the x-coordinate means counselors. So by law, at most 6 children can attend the camp if Roxanne hires 2 counselors. That's not exactly written the same order, but it's saying really the same thing, which is if there's 2 counselors, then you can have 6 children. So even though it's written in a different order, it's telling us the same thing. This one is saying that you can only have 2 children and 6 counselors. That's not what this says. So correct answer definitely is going to be the first one, even though it's written in a different order. Let's look at one more. So same assignment, different example. Says the housekeeping staff at the Weary Traveler Hotel rotates job assignments every day. Today, Kathleen is in charge of folding the freshly cleaned bed sheets. The graph shows the proportional relationship between the amount of time in minutes Kathleen spends folding, which is X. So that says the amount of time in minutes is X, and the number of bed sheets she folds, which is Y. So Y are the bed sheets she folds. And again, I've highlighted it, but you can look at the graph and you'll get basically the same information. It tells you that the X is minutes, just like it says up here. It says the amount of time is X, and that's minutes. And it also tells you that Y represents the bed sheets, just like it does here. And so you can look to the side of the graph as well. So the plot, or the point that has been plotted, is right here, which is 3, 6. So now we go from this point and we try to figure out what that means. So we know 3 is the x-coordinate, and the x-coordinate means minutes. So that tells us that that's 3 minutes and 6 bed sheets. Let's see. So what does the point 3, 6 represent? Well, we just said what it represents because we always identify the x first. So the 3 minutes and 6 bed sheets, that's clearly going to be this answer. All that happened here was they just changed the order. So as long as you're reading this carefully and you go ahead, you can highlight this in the main problem, but as long as you're looking at the graph, you'll do just fine on this as well. So again, that's for IXL K.10 Interpreting Graphs of Proportional Relationships.